All right, I did it all for the Chusse. Okay, we have the Chusse today. This knife is an Alibaba, Temu, whatever you may have, clone of a Bussy knife. We did a lot of reviewing of this knife. I did a lot of reviewing of this knife, all the way from regular use to abuse to destruction. I've got some thoughts, not only about this knife, but about this industry, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Now, before we get into that, this knife was sent to me by a supporter of the channel. I greatly appreciate you. It was also made possible through my Patreon, so that's one way to support this channel. The best way to support this channel, if you're into knives and into honesty, would be supporting my own knife brand, Exodus Knife and Tool. My knives are made in the USA, have a no questions asked lifetime guarantee, and they are absolutely practical. So let's jump right into this. I missed a part of what I wanted to say, an important part in the video, and that is the knife that is advertised is not the knife that you will receive. And what I mean by that is this knife was advertised as being DC53 steel, and I believe it was advertised at being 60 to 61 HRC. I tested the hardness with Ross over at Dry Creek Forge at 55 HRC. By the way, side note, for some reason Alan Eliashwitz decided to come into my comment section and be an asshole about this. I don't know. I don't know, and call me stupid for whatever. Anyways, I broke the knife. We sent it to Peter's Heat Treat. Trevor hooked me up, and we did a laser XRF compositional analysis. We verified, by the way, Alan, that it is 55 HRC, and the steel is not DC53. Now, if you watched the testing of this knife, you already knew that the steel wasn't DC53, and so it is 55 HRC. By the way, the HRC scale is not linear. So the difference between 55 to 58 is not the equivalent of the difference between 58 and 61. Chart goes up like this, okay? So 55 is baby butter booty soft, all right? And the steel is a 420 stainless. The XRF laser analysis style of compositional testing does not tell us carbon or nitrogen levels. So I sent the results to Frederick Hakonsen. I butchered your name, so I feel like I should mention that I apologize for that. I do know that I butchered it, regardless. He's a professional metallurgist in Norway who I've known for, I don't know, 10 years or so probably. And he said it's a 420 series steel. I thought it would be a 3CR, 5CR, nothing close to that. So just a bottom of the barrel 420 series stainless steel. By the way, I don't hate 420 series stainless steels as a whole, but it is vastly different than DC53 and explains a good bit of the results that we have. By the way, really quick, here are a couple of pictures of his work over there. Also, I think he's in Norway, but if he's in Sweden, again, I apologize. Check out, I'm going to put a link to his Instagram in the description box below. He's a maker who's very well known for his A8 mod. Very cool, very practical, very utilitarian, great guy, and he's always helped me out. So check him out. And again, the knife might be dirt cheap, but everything about it is a lie, and that's if it wasn't directly aimed at and targeting damaging small custom US shops in the first place. Like, if this were a direct copy of a Kershaw, that would suck. But, like, would anybody care? Probably not. Also, would it sell? It's the same price as a Kershaw anyways. But they're targeting Bussy. And, of course, I talk about that a lot in this video. Let's get you back over to wherever else I was in the video. So, Legion Cool Tactical Cutlery, something like that. Grugs, mount up, Legion! Whatever his name is, specifically said, like, I don't owe these companies anything. It's true. Look, the American manufacturers and the American companies are not hungry like the Chinese companies are, but they've also got more skin in the game. But a lot of them are outdated antiquated, don't understand how the modern market works. They're still in the 1980s or 1990s. And no, they're not going to send you a whole bunch of crap for free. What they are going to do is when a customer buys a product, they're going to back that product. But I'm not here to tell you that someone is going to go and buy this knife instead of a Bussy. And here's why. When people see this thing on Alibaba and they see the Bussy name on it, the average consumer who's looking through these knives and thinks it looks cool is not even going to know what Bussy is. They're not even going to think, oh, this is a Bussy, I can get a Bussy cheaper. They see a cool knife, they click on it, they buy it. This can have ramifications down the road with resale of used knives and pawn shops and this and that and the other, being that they directly rip off the logos and the markings and everything, but that's not the biggest issue. What's really going on, nobody's cross-shopping this. What's really going on is people in the knife industry who do know what they're looking at, they're potentially going to look at this knife as an opportunity. They're going to see it and they're going to say, I've always wondered about Bussy, I'll just buy this one and see if I like it. That sounds like it doesn't matter, but as a guy who owns a knife brand, let me tell you why it matters. It matters because the health of a knife brand can also often be viewed by the health of that brand's resale market. So when a knife brand sells really, really well on the secondary market, on eBay or whatever else, relatively high prices, quick sales, everything like that, that helps promote the brand. It helps to drive new sales for the brand, and it helps to grow the brand. It shows overall health of the brand. So if I want to try a Bussy before I buy one new, and now I have to decide whether I'm going to buy one secondhand, hopefully a little bit cheaper, or I'm going to buy one new, I now have a third option. Buy the Chinese copy and play with that one instead. That's going to hurt the secondary market. I promise you it will hurt the brand. And the issue is, there are many issues, but on one hand, you're not going to get a real view of the performance of the knife. You're going to have some cheap stuff here and there. The handles may look the same. They don't quite feel the same. Completely different material. It might be sharp when you get it. Is it going to be as sharp? Probably not. Is it going to hold an edge as long? Probably not. The edge geometry will not be the same. And so these things, edge geometry and handle geometry and blade geometry go together hand in hand. And you can have two knives that look exactly the same, but you screw up these dimensions and the knife will handle completely differently. So what did we do in the end? In the end, we destroyed this knife by smashing it edge to edge with a Bussy. This was a terrible test. This was silly. This was not the right thing to do. The Bussy broke before the Chusse. I think that this is because the Chusse was softer and had more mass, quite simply. So the Bussy finally cracked. There are other issues that are my fault, like the fact that I was banging on the Bussy itself, putting extra stress from the metal through that steel on the blade on top, whereas the blade on bottom got a more controlled impact. There are tons of issues with that test, but at the end of the day, all of these things considered, guys, there's different kinds of made in China, and I would prefer you, honestly, to say, I'll never buy a knife in China. I understand that. I agree. I support that. However, objectively and logically, there are different kinds of made in China blades. There are reputable brands, and there are these ghost pop-ups that pop up in the middle of the night with huge promises that exist to take advantage of unsuspecting and ignorant buyers. This is bad for the industry. You don't understand at a surface level why it's so bad from the industry as a consumer. I promise you, it's bad for the industry as a whole, and you will not get the knife that you are advertised. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you to my supporters. Thank you to my buddy who sent this knife in. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you that the knife just sucks outright, because it really doesn't. What's so horrible about this knife is not the performance per dollar. What's so terrible about this knife is the fact that you have no idea whether or not it is actually what it says it is, and it's hurting the industry. That is a far bigger deal. So anyways, choose who you watch, choose whose opinions you take in, and guys, we don't need, listen, I get inundated with 1,000 emails a day. Not literally. I get a lot of emails though from all of these Chinese brands, and I get the same emails that they get, the same brands, the same money-making opportunities. If I took money-making opportunities and used that money to promote my own videos, that would be pretty doggone smart. I could make some pretty doggone good money on YouTube. Not doing that is probably like cutting off my nose to spite my face. But who am I doing YouTube for? Am I just doing YouTube to make money and bolster my own self-image? Or am I doing YouTube because I'm tired of shills and bad information and the frustration that I personally felt and continue to feel in other markets when I go on YouTube looking for good information? I'm going to do the latter. Choose wisely. Talk to you in the comment section below. Have a blessed day.